Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a genuinely fascinating white paper by John Cashett from IPE Services. It tackles a really interesting premise, the idea that enterprise AI is actually missing a crucial intelligence layer that it desperately needs to actually work. So let's kick things off with the million-dollar question that is keeping business execs up at night right now. Why are these massive enterprise AI investments failing at such an alarming rate? It's not because the technology itself is broken. The computing power is absolutely there, and the algorithms are incredibly sophisticated. So what exactly is going wrong? Well, this comparison right here hits the nail on the head. AI systems are literally swimming in raw data, but they completely lack the operational context to interpret what any of it actually means. On one hand, organizations are incredibly data-rich, feeding these models millions of operational records. But on the other hand, they are totally context-poor. They lack the actual process knowledge to make sense of it all. To solve this mystery of the missing link, we're going to break today's explainer down into 6 quick parts: the AI context gap, what is process ontology, the 6 steps of IPE, inside an IPE pack, IPE in action, and finally, the AI ROI equation. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the AI context gap, and the very real danger of having data without meaning. Picture this. You've got a practical manufacturing scenario. Your AI system reads a cycle time from a machine, and the number it gets is exactly 47 seconds. Just think about that number for a second. If you are an AI, what on earth does that actually mean to you? Absolutely nothing. The real problem is everything the AI doesn't know about those 47 seconds. It doesn't know your standard cycle time, so it has no clue if 47 is amazing or a complete disaster. It doesn't know if this deviation should trigger a corrective workflow or which human process owner actually has the authority to step in. It completely misses the causal inputs driving that variation in the first place. Which brings us to Section 2. What is process ontology? How we move from raw data to actual process intelligence. So we clearly need to bridge this gap, right? Enter the concept of ontology. Now, I know ontology sounds super academic, but it is absolutely essential. It's not just some random database of facts. It is a formal, structured knowledge architecture that encodes your business rules and relationships. This is exactly what allows AI systems to actually reason, infer, and take action, rather than just mathematically sorting numbers all day. Let's look at this 3-level knowledge stack to see how the magic actually happens. You start at the bottom with raw, unstructured data, like our 47-second cycle time. Then the ontology layer steps in and provides a concrete rule. Hey, if the cycle time is greater than 45 seconds, this process is out of control. Boom, that rule instantly transforms the raw data into actionable process knowledge, literally telling the AI to go trigger a corrective workflow. So why is this a total game changer for an enterprise? First off, it creates a shared vocabulary. That means a term like nonconformance is understood exactly the same way by your AI, your ERP system, and your human workers. It gives the AI the power of machine reasoning, maps out cause and effect logic for true predictive power, and establishes workflow provenance, which basically ensures the AI never, ever goes rogue and violates your operational constraints. Okay, Section 3, the 6 steps of IPE. Let's look at the Enterprise Ontology Deployment Framework. Now that we know what ontology is, how do we actually deploy it across a massive enterprise? The secret sauce is Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE. And to be clear, IPE is not some shiny new AI software you have to go buy. It is the deployment mechanism that systematically builds the infrastructure you need to transform raw data into AI-ready intelligence. Here's how the 6-step IPE framework breaks it all down. It starts by establishing authorized human roles and defining the formal process structure. Then, that structure gets documented in a machine-readable format to create that shared vocabulary we talked about. Next, you set up your KPIs as rule-based properties, and it all feeds into a continuous improvement loop that keeps the AI's knowledge base constantly updated. And as you can see, this 3-level hierarchy acts kind of like a GPS for your AI. It starts broad with a functional area like quality, drills down into specific process activities, and finally hits the element layer, which are the actual executable steps. The AI uses this exact map to understand how your entire business is put together. Moving right along to Section 4, inside an IPE pack, let's talk about structured ontology documents. Practically speaking, how do we physically hand all of this structured information over to an AI? We use what's called an IPE pack. This is basically a deployment artifact that packages up the process hierarchy, the inputs and outputs, the KPI thresholds, the human roles, and the corrective workflows. It literally hands the AI everything it needs for a specific functional area. This is the big paradigm shift right here. When your AI system ingests an IPE pack, it is not just crunching historical data anymore. It is quite literally absorbing the structured rules and logic of your business in a format that it can seamlessly reason against. Let's see this in the real world in Section 5, IPE in action, specifically predictive quality control. Imagine a predictive quality control setup in a plastic injection molding plant. Before IPO, your AI was basically flying blind. It only had access to raw sensor data, cycle times, and historical defect logs. It had absolutely zero actual process context. But hand that same AI an IP pack, and it is a completely different story. It actually understands causal inputs now, like melt temperature and injection pressure. So if the temperature spikes, it doesn't just record a number, it cross-references those variables to predict the probability of a defect. It then automatically triggers the workflow, notifies the right human in charge, and documents the whole event. How cool is that? And there's a massive bonus here, compliance. We all know how tricky AI governance is right now. This structured ontology ensures the AI's recommendations actually validate against your established standards. It stops the AI from making autonomous decisions that conflict with your management hierarchy. Plus, it provides the exact documentation you need to satisfy major frameworks like NIST, ISO 42001, and the EU AI Act. You're literally hardwiring risk reduction into the system. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, the AI ROI equation, closing the context gap. John Kachat boils the whole shebang down to one incredibly simple, fundamental equation. Data plus process equals AI ROI. Organizations that just keep throwing data at their AI without deploying the process ontology to actually govern it, they are going to keep hitting a wall. High risk, low returns. But the moment you add process knowledge into the mix via IPE, that is when you unlock the real return on investment. So as we wrap up, I want you to think about your own operations before you sign off on that next huge AI budget. Ask yourself, has your organization actually deployed the process ontology your AI needs to reason intelligently? Or are you just feeding it context, poor data, and hoping for the best? It is a crucial question, and getting the answer right is absolutely the key to making enterprise AI work for you. Thanks so much for exploring this white paper with me today.